So I mean, okay.
My name is Carlos Walker. This is Forward Progress, and today I got Mr. Rondo Reform with me. Peace and blessings. How you doing, bruh?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. My name is Michael Bonilla, aka Rondo, the Gen Z organizer here at Reform Alliance.
Okay, so if you will, before we start, you're gonna kind of already done did what I need you to do, which is share who you are and what you do. But if you will, share with me how much time you actually done.
Yeah. So I did 2.5 years of Rikers Island, unconvicted. So I was down from February 2021. Um, no, it was COVID stopped everything. It was November 2020, like November 2020, December 2020, I got incarcerated. And then I ended up making bail, but I was out on bail already. I was still out on bail. I was out on two bails actually, and then I got locked up again in 2021 October. So that's when I started my bid. But like I was already in the system. I did like 3 months before I made my bail, but it all counted towards me coming home. So
Okay,
yeah,
so this is what we do here at Forward Progress. We talk about before you went to prison. As
got
far
you.
as you want to go back, you can go all the way back to your youth. And
Oh
we're
yeah,
gonna lead up to the point where you actually got in trouble.
okay.
Talk about the time that you was in prison. I mean, yeah, in Rikers Island. But then everything that you do now, because that is the most important part, is what you do now.
Absolutely.
So,
So I could go back. Let's go back. So now I'm 22 now. I've been here at Reform for about 2 years. I'm going on 3 years in January. So we can go back to let's say 6 years old, 5 years old, right? Um, Grew up single mother. Her first child. She was the baby out of all her siblings. So out of all my uncles and aunts, she was the baby. My mom had me when she was 19. So she was a really good mom, but she had me when she was young and she had to work. So I kind of grew up by my cousins, my first cousins, my mother's sister's sons used to watch me a lot, and a few of my uncles. So you know how it works, right? Is when you're growing up, what you see firsthand is what you start to normalize, right? My All my cousins at the time, they was all in the streets. You know what I'm saying? And they had me by about 13, 12 years. I'm 22 now. My youngest first cousin is like 33. So
okay,
they was already kind of getting their hands, and it was a different time back then, early 2000s. I was born 2002. So it was a different time. They was already in the streets. I was with them. This is how I grew up. I believe I started inherited some of the behaviors that they was displaying, right? Not because it was on some, hey, this is how you need to act, but because this is who they were, and I was a child growing up. So to me, that was normal.
what you see,
Um,
what you do.
exactly. So as I'm going into school, I remember this day like it was clear as yesterday. I'm 6 years old. I'm going to, I don't know if it was daycare or I don't know if it was kindergarten. I don't know. All I know is I was 6 years old, and the teacher name, I always forget her name. Miss, it started with a C, but everybody was talking, and she told me, "Hey, you probably need to be quiet." And I got upset. I left. They ended up kicking me out the classroom. I banged on the glass door. It broke. It was like plastic though. It wasn't glass. It was like plastic. So it broke. She opened the door. I jump on her back. She falls. They call the ambulance. My cousin worked as the principal for this school. So she gave the ambulance permission to take me to the hospital and evaluate me, right? So when we talking about evaluation, we talking about let's give these kids a series of different quizzes, tests to see if he got ADHD, depression, and all of this stuff
At the age of 6.
at the age of 6 years old. My mother, this was not my legal guardian. She was not supposed to give consent. My mother was my only legal guardian, and my grandmother. They were the only two who had legal ownership of saying, hey, I allow this child to go and get evaluated. She gave them that permission. From that, I got diagnosed with like 9 different things. Depression, ADHD, OCD, you name it, I got diagnosed with it.
At the age of 6.
At the age of 6 years old at Bronx Lebanon Hospital. So this all happened like the same exact day. I remember the day like it was yesterday. For some reason, I can't forget it. My mother came through. We were separated by a glass door. I'm crying. She's like, I want to see my son. She's going crazy. Security's grabbing her. Long story short, I ain't seen my mother since that day, probably like a year and a half. So I ended up going to foster care. So I went to foster care from age 6 to 11 and a half. Because I came home, when I came home, I was just about to turn 12. My birthday's in August. I came home like June. Like June. It was like June. Because me and my little brother 10 years apart. And I was 11 and he was like 1. So it was about June. And during foster care, it's kind of what got me into the streets when I returned back to my mother, right? Mm-hmm. I had to endure so many different things. Being neglected, being viewed as a check, being physically abused. Thank God it was nothing sexual, but it was a lot of physical abuse, mental, verbal abuse that was going on in these households. Now, I was always, like I said, I was raised by my cousins, right? My cousins and Randall's punk. So anytime I felt attacked, I would attack. That led to me going from house to house to house to house to house. Foster care system, I don't know if there's like some type of rap sheet or something about that, but if you was to look it up, I've probably been to like 13, 14 different houses. Like that's from on a 5-year span, which is kind of crazy for a 6-year-old. So just imagine that different families, different cultures, different faces, different environments, different areas in New York City, constantly on the move, was never able to adapt, never had the chance to play with toys, didn't get a chance to be a kid, basically. Majority of my time in foster care, I fought. That's kind of where a lot of that anger came from, was from foster care. So from that, so during my time in foster care, it was like 3.5 years in, they finally put me down with a family that loved me for me and not a check. And I ended up staying there until I came back home, which is Miss Matos and Miss Jose. I can never forget them. So from that, when I came back home to my mom, right? So now I have a little brother. I was used to being the only child. I never met him. It was my first time meeting him. You know, he looked nothing like me. He light skinned. We got different type of hair. I'm like, what's going on here, right? It was a lot to endure as a kid. But I always blame my mom. I blame my mom because I didn't understand. Now I know what I'm telling you now is because as I got older, you know, I started to do my own research and I started to have these conversations with my mom. So I understood, you know, why I had these thoughts. But I had personal beef with my mom from the age of 11 until the first time I ever seen her while being incarcerated, which was at 18. So I had carried that bitterness and angerness at her for all these years. And it really led a bit. So let's step back a little bit. So when I came back to my mom, I didn't listen, right? I didn't listen. I didn't know how to listen. I couldn't look at her and say that she said she loved me. I didn't believe in that, none of that stuff. 2 years later, I joined the gang. You know, at the time we was living in Harlem. I was 13, and I used to see these guys. They used to pull up nice cars. I didn't even know what type of cars they was at the time. BMW, you know what I'm saying? Double R, Rolls Royces. I'm like, nah, what's going on? Women, beautiful women, nice bodies. I'm like, nah, I want to be a part of that. Like, that's what I need. Mom Dukes never asked her for nothing. Never asked her for no money. So, you know, I was selling drugs 13, 14 years old, all the way to like 17. So that's how I got into the streets. As I got older, I got nothing but more argumentative towards authority. So that meant anybody with a shield, family member, anybody. I didn't listen. I got arrested like my first time ever, like 14, was like from like stealing from a 7-Eleven. I stole like $50, I think, worth of frozen goods, you know, just to eat. You know what I'm saying? I left my mom crib. I was moving from friend house to friend house, you know, and I was just spending for my own. So I got like $50 worth of 7-Eleven frozen goods. I got arrested. I was a minor. Mom Dukes came. She got me. As soon as she left me out the precinct, I left. You know, I ended up coming back home. I say staying back at like 16. So I came back and I was like, because now I got a little sister here now. So now I'm like, yo, I got to be more of a role model. Like, I can't let them think this is normal for what I'm doing. This is how I ended up in foster care. This is what my internal thoughts is telling me, but what I know wasn't allowing me to do it. So I still was coming to the crib, smelling like weed, you know what I'm saying, bringing a whole bunch of friends in, wrong friends, exposing them to my sisters and brothers and things like that. That was another mistake that I made. But from that, you know, the charges just got nothing but worse. So then we started playing with guns. Around COVID time, you know, that's when a lot of gun violence around COVID time was at all-time high, right? Everybody and their mother had money. Everybody had money. Unemployment was through the roof.
And they was giving out them checks.
Left and right. So that during COVID is the most amount of money I ever seen. And that right there is really what turned my feelings off. I didn't have any feelings at that. After that, I seen that $20,000, $30,000. I was like, it's quiet. Like, I don't need school. I don't need a support system. I got money. Like, I could do what I want to do. But I was young and stupid, so all the money went to the wrong things, of course. Drugs, cars, females, whatever. You name it. It just went to the wrong things. But as I get older, like I said, I started playing with guns. So 17, I got my first ever gun charge. It was January 1st, 25 years ago. That was 2019. First ever gun charge, 17. First day of the year, you know, I'm with friends. Gun happened to be there. I got a bright green coat on. They said I threw it. I ended up getting arrested. Bail was $1,000. Bailed out. Got arrested again. Bail was $1,000. Bailed out. So this is when I stood out of trouble. And I used my YO. I ended up getting those cases dismissed. Now we get into 2020. Like I said, I got arrested again for a gun charge. But now I'm 18. So it's like now they're looking at me like, oh, we're not about to play with this kid. Like he 18 now. So now what's going on? I end up going to Rikers. Bail was $1,000 again, bailed out. So I was out on bail that whole entire time. 2021 came, January, I got arrested again. Bail was $1,000 again, bailed out. So now I'm like, nah, God don't want me to, like, I didn't learn no lesson, basically. I'm doing whatever I'm doing. I'm doing whatever I wanted to do. I've been running the streets this whole time. Every single time I get into trouble, I get community service, I get case dismissed, I get a slap on the wrist. So now I'm like, oh, like I could do this. Like this is how I can live. I can live like this the rest of my life, get a slap on the wrist, and I'll be all right. Like this is what it is. That's what I thought. Right. So now I get arrested again, this time 2021, October, and this time it's over. This time is over. Gun charge, it got robbery, all of this crazy stuff, all of these stuff, whatever. I'm like, oh, nah, all these allegations on me, this is ridiculous. But what really happened was I was basically I was 19 now, and my codees were all below the age of 18. So they gave me the influential charge. Oh, you influence these kids to do that, basically. And they rap sheets is worse than mine, believe it or not.
But you the oldest.
But I'm the oldest. I was the only one that was legal. So I got, they gave me gang leader charge or whatever the case may be. This time I had to sit. We go to Rikers. It's October 2021. We go to Rikers. COVID at an all-time high. Going to Rikers is my first time ever being in the jail. I never made it to the housing unit. I always bailed out from like the lobby. So I never made it up here. I didn't know what it was about. I come up in there, you know what I'm saying? I'm being very observant, quiet. First 2 days, I get jumped for DOC food by grown men though. Like they had to be like at least 2 times my age. 30s and 40s, they beat me up for my DOC food. I'm like, word, this how I get down in here. Automatically, like I said earlier, I got this thing where I could just turn off my feelings, turn the feelings off. I'm like, okay, we're playing for keeps in here. It's dog eat dog or get ate. So I'm like, I'm eating every dog. Nobody's eating me. Like I don't want that to happen again. So like I said, I started to get more into the jail violence, slashings, gang, you name it. I'm making a reputation for myself. They see Rondo, they're like, yeah, Rondo, yeah, that's the bro. Don't play with him. So that's what I was glorifying. God had other plans though. Now we get to 2022, right? I was with my gang, my whole entire jail bed. Now they swap me. Now there's something called a blend that we got on Rikers Island. So it's 3-3-3. So that's 3-3-3-3-3. So it's 4 threes of different gangs. So you might have Crip, Blood, 3 Boo, whatever. So and they put y'all all in the same crib. Y'all gotta bang out. You can't leave the crib until you bang out. Bang out means y'all gotta fight. You can't leave until y'all fight. If y'all don't fight, you're not leaving this crib. You have to have a certain amount of fights in order to leave these type of environments.
Now, who put you in this environment?
The security team. So security team, they're in charge, and Rikers Island, they're in charge of the gangs. So it's SRG, right? Street related gang. They have that on your portfolio. Mine was Bloodhound Brim. I was Blood. So when your name comes up by random, it's like a lottery, basically. They see who's not in these type of blending cribs and who's been in population for too long that needs to get blended, and they do a swap. So they take one of these gang members, put them in population. They take this one and put them in there. So basically, it wasn't the box. It was just like it was no free time. There was no phone, get on the phone. There's none of that because as soon as y'all come out, y'all having a fight. And all of these gangs have beef with each other. So I think it was through design, but
it's almost like they get a kick out free rent.
But yeah, that's exactly what it was. I'm talking about
it's like a fight club almost.
Yes. The first day they did, this 333 stuff, you can look it up. It was, I forgot his name. There was this dark-skinned African kid. He was from Brooklyn. Boy got his face ripped from the bottom of his neck to the top of his head. That was the first day they started this 333 day. It was the biggest lawsuit, one of the biggest lawsuits of 2021. It was crazy. Like, it was crazy. But this is the environment I'm in, right? So they put me in here. So now I'm like, yeah, say that. Now it's quiet. It's no more of that chill stuff. But I end up going down there and I see a lot of the bros who I was in the crib with, because I had a reputation for myself. You know what I'm saying? So I ended up being sturdy in this house in the area. Long story short, so this is how a little bit how, you know, my transition starts happening. Now I'm in this housing unit. You know, this is the one building. The one building is the worst building. Like, the food comes last. The food is always cold. We have the worst dep. She was horrible. Like, it was bad. Like, I hated the one building. I wanted to get back to the 4 building. Long story short, these 2 COs named DC and White, right? 2 COs, DC and White. It's my brothers. I can call them right now. I love them to death. They had this idea of starting this basketball initiative. Okay. You know, just playing ball. That's what originally it was about. It was about playing basketball. So one of my people in the housing unit, my son Modeg, he's like, yo, these 2 COs, they not play ball. So they're like, yo, they watching, you know, like, if you go to the yard, make sure you go crazy today. They trying to recruit for a basketball team, but they picking based off, like, you know, your gang number, not your gang number, your violence number. So the higher your number, the more of a nuisance you was. The highest was like 75. I was like 58, 59.
So what they trying to do, they trying to figure out how to reform the people with the highest stuff.
With the highest amount of violence. You know what I'm saying? So this is how
shout out to them.
So now I'm like, all right, but we didn't know this though. We thinking this is
they know, but y'all don't know.
Knew, right. So boom. So we started this and we coming to the gym. You know, all right. So basically, I'm playing ball. I'm cold. I can't hit a shot. I can't hit a layup. I'm brick, and I'm usually nice. And now I'm like, nah, it's over. They're not gonna pick me. Long story short, I got picked. So I'm like, word, me? Like, I say that. We end up going to the gym. I'll never forget this day. So we go to the gym. All of these gangs. So everybody we have something called a black, right? Everybody had that. That's your weapon. You heard. So everybody got that. So I got mine in my hand. I'm coming in the gym. I see Crips, a whole bunch of Crips who don't like Bloods. So now I'm like, now what they got going on in here? And it's only like 3 COs and Dep Chester. I'm like, yo, what's going on in here? Dep Chester comes and he basically breaks it down saying, yo, we got a pastor coming from Orlando. His name is Tim Johnson. He's an ex Super Bowl champion, Redskins, this, that, and the third. He's gonna come down here and talk to you guys. We looking at each other like, so we're not playing basketball? This was cap? So what happened to the basketball? We was playing ball, but it was Team White versus Team DC, and we all got along, so it was no problem. So now you putting us in the gym with a whole bunch of other gang members, and you telling us we got a pastor from Orlando who's about to come down here and start preaching the word of gospel to us? Why would we care? You know what I'm saying? So long story short, Tim Johnson from Orlando World Outreach Church came down to Rikers Island. Now he comes down there with Art Monk, another Super Bowl champion, Hall of Famer as well. Both of them played Redskins. We ain't know this. He come down. First thing he do when we come down, all of us, first thing he do is he grab our face and say, I love you, my son. Now, we thought he was suspect. You know what I'm saying? Because it was genuine.
It seems strange to you.
Right, but it's strange. We never really it was genuine love from a random dude, a random man at that we never seen before. So to us, you know, a bunch of young kids, we're like, nah, this is suspect. You know, but we all seen that it came from a place of like fatherhood. Like he actually said that like he knew us. Long story short, Carlos, I'll tell you this. If I'm lying, I'm flying, bro. From the work we started doing in that initiative, all of us, jail violence went down 60%. 60%. Like I said, they chose the worst of the worst and they put them in a group. They told them to read the Bible and play basketball. Jail violence went down 60%. We all got baptized. We all we started reading the Bible. Now we starting to get our own movement. It's called MOG, Fatherless No More. You know, we just did a documentary. We just got the best documentary for the Florida Film Festival. I went down there with the COs, with Pastor Tim Johnson, with his daughter and the executive team. It was great. You know, because I'm kind of like the person that they use, like roundle this, roundle that, you know, because I'm doing what I'm doing here. So we basically end up like, all right, we're gonna submit to this. We started submitting to it, and we used to get outside food. So that's what we used to go for the outside food.
You already know it. If you can get something, you
right. You know what I'm saying? A chicken wing, $25. A small thing of mac and cheese, $50. So now I'm making bread off my food. Like, this is what it was. We all came here for the food so we could sell it to the housing area. As we started to grow in this initiative, it changed our hearts. When we got baptized, we did a garden visit. We went to Rosie's. We took a bus. We took a jail trip. We took a trip in jail in Rikers Island. Like,
this is unheard of.
We got on a bus and went to the other side of the facility and started picking the gardens and picking. It was crazy, bro. So now I'm like, nah, this is ridiculous. So now everybody wants to. I want to be MOG. I want to be followers no more. I want to get part of that. I want to get part of that. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people didn't realize the sacrifice you had to make, because there's people in here who had beef and outside.
And you got to stop this in order
to do this. We hugging, we playing ball. It's just not ego driven at all. So if you come in here with ego driven attitude, you out here. And we wouldn't allow anybody to come in here and mess with what we had. We never had one incident that happened in the room. Not one incident.
It's young men learning to be men amongst men. Right.
So everything was strictly men and men fatherhood and Bible. Strictly that. I'm talking about Tim Johnson stayed in the trailer, right? 3.5 months straight. He stayed in the trailer outside of Rikers Island parking lot. That's where he lived for 3.5 months. He came to see us 5 days a week.
Shout out to him.
You can look it up.
Shout out to him.
5 days a week. He stood in the trailer 3.5 months. That's how much he sacrificed of his own time. He got a wife. He got kids. He's a pastor. He got his own church. He spent 3 months in an RV in Rikers Island, bro. Every day when he left Rikers Island, he went right to the parking lot to the RV. 3.5 months straight. You know what I'm saying? It was a different type of love, especially most of us coming from fatherless hoods, fatherless households anyway. Majority of us is just the oldest sibling anyway. We did what we was having to do to provide for our moms anyway. We all got more in common than we have differences.
Mm-hmm.
And we started to see that the unity we was able to create with that was a different level, unmatched. Mm-hmm. Now let's get to the good stuff. Through the work we was doing, everybody from the outside was hearing about it. Mayor Adams heard about it.
Before that, have you got sentenced yet?
Huh?
Had you got sentenced yet?
Sentenced? No, I never got sentenced. That's what I'm gonna get into too.
Okay, that's right.
That's what I'm gonna get into too. So basically, what happened was when he came down and we was doing this work, like I said, jail violence went down 60%. This is newsworthy. Mm-hmm. Rikers Island, RNDC, young adult population, jail violence go down after Pastor Tim Johnson comes into Rikers preaching the word of God. Boom. That was the script that they put out there. So we heard about it. I'm on the phone. My mom's like, I'm like, yo, this is making the news. People started coming and wanting to hear about it. They wanted to come see it for themselves. Mayor Adams came twice. A whole bunch of other people came twice. Lala Anthony got involved. Now, let's just highlight Lala Anthony, right? That's his own story. So with Tim Johnson and Father Listen No More, Lala Anthony heard about it. She was like, I want to get involved. So we did a family day, right? Where we got baptized and our family got to be there. Mm. You know, it was different. It wasn't just through a visiting facility. I mean, through the visiting floor. We're in a gym. Basically, we're meeting each other's families, all these different gangs and different kids from Brooklyn, Queens, Bronx. We coming together, preaching the word of God. We're getting baptized in front of our family. Different feeling. So that was the work that happened with Tim Johnson, Father Listen No More, aka MOG, Man of God. So here's the second part. Here's where I got here with reform and all this other stuff. So like I said, through the work we was doing with Father Listen No More, MOG, Lala heard about it. She was like, I want to see what's up with this. First time Lala came, I didn't know who she was, right? I know Carmelo. I never heard of Lala Anthony though. I'm like, who is that? I didn't know who that was. It's like Carmelo Anthony's wife. I'm like, oh, well, what's she coming here for? I'm thinking this is for her to bring out the camera.
Publicity.
Right. Bring out a camera, say she was here and shook our hands and go about her business. I said, yo, first time I see a camera, I'm leaving the room. I don't want to see no camera. This is not nothing to do with no publicity. We don't need no public. We don't need no public support. We're in jail doing this work. We don't need people from the outside documenting us, especially if he wasn't around for this journey.
I really did, but go ahead.
So she came through. She came with her mom. That was my first green flag. You come into a program full of young adults, right? Are you bringing your mother? So that was the first thing. I'm like, oh, okay. She probably serious. Let me hear her out. Long story short, that day we were as shy as a I don't even know. We were shy. gangsters. We couldn't say nothing. Lala led the conversation. Long story short, she started coming 2 times, 3 times a week. Tim Johnson, he had to go back to his normal life for a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
But she stayed right here in New York.
Yup, because she already here. So now here comes Lala. Now she's coming in twice a week. So anytime we got visitors, hey Rondo, tell them what this is about. What we do here. I bet. I give them the spill. Same thing when MOG follows them more. I give them the spill. So let's get back. Now you got to understand how Lala got involved. Let's talk about reform, how I got to reform. So we had me and Lala, we built a strong connection. She saw something different in me. I ain't see it myself. So a lot of people saw something different in me. I ain't see it myself. And Lala basically told Jessica Jackson, who was our CEO of Reform Alliance now, who was a CAO at the time, second in command. She told her, like, yo, I got this kid down in Rikers, you got to meet him. Jessica Jackson is a white lady, blonde hair, blue eyes.
I know exactly who you're talking about. I met her before.
Right. So I didn't know who this lady was. You know what I'm saying? At the time, I had 3 felonies, 2 gun charges and a robbery. I don't know what's going on. It's over for me. I'm like, oh, listen, I got to do time. 7 at minimum. You know, this is how I'm thinking. But I'm also taking into consideration the things that I'm building here in Rikers. But I didn't know. I'm like, yo, I got to go upstate soon. So this is all going to be well, but for so long. So I got to go upstate and do the rest of my bid. We had a family day where Lala was, you know, she came, we got food and all this stuff. The week beforehand, we're allowed to wear Pumas in Rikers. I told my mom on the visiting floor to wear one of my Yeezys. It's Adidas, but they look like Pumas. So I told my mother, like, yo, mom, just wear these, and we're gonna swap sneakers on the dance floor. And then, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know, you wear these until you get back downstairs, and then you put your slippers back on and we good. She said, all right. I didn't ask her to bring no drugs. I just wanted some new sneakers. But it's not just new sneakers. I wanted a different brand. Yeah. I didn't want to wear Pumas no more. I wanted some Yeezys. So I'm, you know, they were like, oh, bro, what you got going on? So I ended up, long story short, I ended up doing it. And I come back down to the MOG initiative. Not Lala's, but the Fatherless No More, Man of God. So Big White was the CEO. First thing, everybody's looking at me. They're like, oh, you got Yeezys on? I'm like, oh, chill. Y'all making it hot. White pull up on me. How you get those? Hey, I already know it's something. I'm like, yo, White, chill. I'm like, yo, da-da-da. He said, nah. He calls radio. Long story short, they ended up catching my mom right before she was about to cross the bus to get out. They ended up arresting her, and they just made her wait. They ended up making me swap the sneakers back and all that other stuff. So I got visitors banned for 30 days. They were supposed to ban me from visitors for 6 months.
Yes.
I was fortunate enough to get 30 days.
You got favor.
I got a favor. During those 30 days, we had the family day where Jessica Jackson came down, so my mom couldn't come. So everybody had their family there but me. You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't sad, but I was like, dang, like, I'm a part of this new initiative.
I kind of dropped the ball.
Yeah. I'm a part of this new initiative, and my mom can't even see what I'm doing with this one. Like, she see what I was doing with MOG Fatherless No More, but she's not even seeing with this one. So I was a little upset. But she sat at my table that whole entire day. Her peoples, and then she brought Jessica Jackson. So me and Jess, Lyle ended up leaving the table. Me and Jess, we having a one-on-one like this, 45 minutes, maybe to an hour. She's asking me all these type of questions, and I'm answering them truthfully. And she's like, she linked that. She was like, how would you feel if I told you I had a job opportunity for you? Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm like, ma'am, like, I'm facing 3 felonies. Like, I don't know when I'm coming home. She's like, I didn't ask you when you was coming home. I said, what if I told you I had a job opportunity for you? I was like, I'm gonna take it gracefully. I never had a job, never. She was like, all right, well, when you come home, make sure you come to the reform office. All right, cool, grand. That was that conversation. So now, behind the scenes, La's advocating for me 101%. In the courtroom, though, I'm going to court. I got Lala and Anthony in my courtroom. So now the judge is starting, but every time I came to court, the support system got bigger. I had support system from Department of Corrections, from family to friends, to Lala. You know what I'm saying? So all of these 4 major entities in my life is here supporting me in my behalf. Lies prison to the judge. He's doing this. He's doing that. Judge is astonished because this is the judge who's seen me come in and out of this since I was like 15. So she's like, "You doing what? You serious? Like this is what you're doing in the island? You're not causing no more trouble?" I'm like, nah, I haven't got a card. I haven't got a ticket. A ticket in a minute. This has been a long time. Long story short, Lai ended up pitching to the judge like, listen, what if he just comes home to reform for a year? If he can stay out of trouble for a year, let him be free.
Shout out.
This is exactly what happened. They ended up taking it. They considered it. This is 2020. Oh, but this is what I'm saying. So here's the catch. This is 2022. No, yeah. This is 2022 around September when we're having this conversation. I'm like, all right, cool. November, I went to court. I ended up signing off 1 year Reform Alliance. They worded it as in a way because Lie ended up giving me a paid lawyer. It was over with this public. It was over with that. So now I got Don Florio. So I was like, I didn't know who she was at the time. You know what I'm saying? But as I started to dig deep, I'm like, oh, nah, this is a lady who's getting people out of jail for real. Like,
she's a shot.
This is a somebody. So she ended up pitching it in a way to the judge, and the judge accepted it. I signed off November. Hold on. Let me just tell this brother. I got to meet him back. Can we push back till 3? Call going over. Sorry about that. So I'm like, no way. Like, yeah, serious? Like, no fella, like, oh, I'm going crazy. Like, I'm like, yo, this is crazy. This is ridiculous. You know, I'm excited, but I didn't tell anybody. So fast forward, this is November. I signed off. December, last day of the year, December. God tested me. I'll never forget this day. Last day of the year, 2022, December 31st. I have a video visit. So it's a visit, but online virtually. I had a visit with my sis Nikki, and it's jail. So you just know when signing. I'm like, yo, I got a bad feeling. Like, yo, Nikki, if I don't call you when I get to the housing area, I got into a fight up here. She's like, why you say that? I'm like, yo, that's what my aura is telling me right now. Just be on 50. I ended up coming out, you know what I'm saying? At the time, I was still banging, but I was banging, but it wasn't like I was like, yo, I was just affiliated with it. You know what I'm saying? But everybody know what I'm doing though. When they see me, MOG, 360, Fatherless No More, 360, this is what they see. It wasn't
change.
They seen the change, they seen the transition. So SRG didn't matter. That didn't matter what I was labeled as. What I was doing was completely above and beyond. But at the end of the day, this is still jail. So three opposing gang members. I'm coming out the visiting area. I get clearance, so I go through the door. So now I'm through the door. They spawned out of nowhere. We was all on the visiting floor. I didn't see these cats at all. They spawned. Yo, Rondo, what's up? Da, da, da. So now I'm looking at them through the gate. I'm like, yo, y'all mad corny because I was just on the dance floor. Y'all ain't doing nothing to me. I ain't see y'all. I'm arguing back and forth. Long story short, I'm like, yo, man, I'm going to holler at y'all. I get clearance. I'm weighing that control 2 downstairs, right? I'm on the north side, go back. I hear south side, go back, control 2. Go ahead. They give them clearance. So now I'm like, yo, there's only 3 kids up there. And those are the 3 opposing gang members. I'm like, if they come over here, we're going to have a bang. We're going to have to fight. There's no other way around that. I can't go around it. They come down the stairs. They start skipping down the hallway. Yo, Rondo, what's the word? So now I'm like, dang. I'm with Cunningham. She's mad cool. But Cunningham like 4'11". I'm like, Cunningham. I said, take your spray out. It's about to get lit. Oh, I know them. They respect me. They won't do anything. I said, okay. I took 3 steps back, put my back against the gate. I was just waiting. And they came, they pushed her out the way. I ended up fighting. I get jumped, right? Boom. I got this little scratch right here. And then my eye was like the size of a ping pong ball. Like beat me up, 3 people. I was cool with it though. You know what I'm saying? I was cool with it though. I was upset, but I knew I was going home in 12 days. This is December 31st. I know I was going home January 12th. So I'm like, yo, I only got 12 more days of this and I'm out. Like, I got this. I ended up going to the hospital. I come back to my housing unit. I'm the joke of the town. Oh, you got beat. Da-da-da-da-da. Whole time, you know what I'm saying? I'm upset, but I'm happy because I know I'm going home.
You better leave.
I'm out. Nobody noticed though. So now I go to court to finalize it that same week. No, the next week, because the 31st was like a Friday or it was the weekend or something like that. That next week coming up, I finalize it. So I come back, I put on this act, you know, I all messed up. I'm like, dang, yo, I just copped out, man. I'm going upstate. So now they're like, word, how you going upstate so quick? Now you just got da-da-da. I'm like, yo, it's over for me. You know what I'm saying? So I start giving out my stuff. Like, I had a lot of stuff. Like, I was fake spoiled. And I had a crazy support system. So I'm like, yo, y'all can have all this stuff. I don't want it. They're like, yo, you crazy? Not taking it. Nope, I don't want it. I just want my Bible. Long story short, I see my mom that Friday because it was like a Tuesday I had court. See my mom that Friday. I'm like, yo, mommy, I'm coming home next week. She was like, what? You lying? I said, I'm coming home next week. January 12th, I'll be out. Make sure you come to court. I'll be home. La told me, she's like, yo, when you come out, I'm going to be there to see you. I'm going to see you when you get out the same day. Lala Anthony, right? So now I'm like, all right, I hear you. But now let's see. I'm going to hold you to that. So January 12th, 2020, 2022, 2023, I was released from the Bronx Supreme Court. They let me go from the courthouse. So now I come out, see my mom at the corner. Mom, Dukes, what's up? Gave her a hug. See my peoples, my friends, family. I turn around. I see this black truck pulling up. Lala Anthony gets out. Right then and there, I knew. I said, my life is going to change. Because I could do this. You could do all this rehabilitative work you want to do in jail all you want. But it's nothing but time in there. So you can do that without having no real pleasure of trying to change yourself or bettering yourself.
What are you going to do here?
Exactly. When you come home, that's when the real challenge starts.
So hold 1 second.
Yeah.
So I always deal with the psychological stuff. So I couldn't do it because you didn't get sentenced. But what was running through your mind when you basically signed that and when they let you free?
I was like, to be honest, only thing I was really thinking about was like, yo, I'll be a fool to mess this up. Because I was like, basically me, I was somebody in the towns, like outside before I came to jail with this gangbanging stuff. I was somebody inside with this gangbanging stuff. So now I'm like, yo, I know when I come home, whatever calling is going to be different. How can I be able to manage that? Like, I'm so used to being tough, like just being stuck up. This is who I am. Like, it's not like I'm pretending, but this is all I really know. Like, this is all I know how to do. How can I be a civilized man? How? That was running through my mind. Yo, I can't mess this up, can't mess this up, can't mess this up, can't mess this up. I knew how blessed I was. I came home I left from court and I didn't go upstate. I said, yo, God got a different calling for me, man. So when I came home January 12th, when I was signing those paperwork, I'm like, yo, I can't let my mom down. I can't let La down. I can't let PT down. I can't let White down. I can't let DC down. I can't let Octavia down. I can't let my family down. All of these people who advocated for me was the only reason why I even got this far, was because of my support system. So I said to myself, if I mess this up, I'm a failure and I don't deserve this. So I kept telling myself, yo, don't mess this up, bro. Don't mess this up. Don't mess this up. Don't mess this up. When I was released January 12th and I seen La, reality struck. Yo, this is really happening. This is my first. I never met a celebrity in my life, but this is a celebrity on this gratitude who's willing to sacrifice her personal time in life to better mine. I got brothers in the feds right now, brothers in Horizon and Crossroads right now, brothers in Rikers Island right now, brothers upstate right now. We all come from the same place, same type of family,
and didn't have to go through.
And they didn't have my blessings. So I knew I was picked and chosen for this. And I said, yo, I can't mess this up. January 12th, I was released. I met with Lau on the 14th, came down here to reform on the 14th, 17th. I was here. Been here ever since. Been here ever since, God. You know what I'm saying? And to be honest, coming home was the biggest challenge. Because look how I'm, it took 10 months to finally start dressing professional development. It took over 50 trainings to learn professional development. It took a lot of networking and listening to get to this mentality I am now. Because I come from a place of being argumentative and being defensive. In the criminal justice reform world, you cannot do that. Once you do that, you lose the people. You can't do that. And I didn't even realize it, but the first couple of months here, I was bringing a lot of this anger and bitterness that I had in my heart from being incarcerated into this line of work I was doing. So it was affecting me. It was a conflict of interest. I knew the person I wanted to be, but I didn't want to change who I was. I didn't want to stop smoking weed. I didn't want to stop wearing sweatsuits. I didn't want to stop wearing my hoodies. I didn't want to stop wearing Jordans. I'm not saying it's not wrong with this, but when you come into certain places, you got to dress for the occasion, my brother. And I had to learn and understand that the gritty way, putting myself through YouTube trainings, asking for help. Never did that. So I had to do all these things to get my mind right. I knew where I wanted to be. I knew what I wanted to be, but I had to let go of that boy that was still in me. I had to let it go. I couldn't. None of my friends who are home right now, I chill around. None of them. You know why? Not because I choose not to.
And it ain't that you don't love them.
Yeah.
It's just that, hey, I realized something. You done seen them space shuttles going into the air, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
First thing they lose is what? The propellers. You're losing weight every atmosphere you go up to. The next thing they lose is the whole body, and once it hits into space, it's nothing but
That's
just that
all we
little.
have to.
That's it, and that is people. Not that you want to like leave the people that you love because you love them. They was in
Right.
struggles with,
Right.
but because they have not, because you changed who you were. Unfortunately, until they do the work, they can't be here with.
They can't. And I love them from a distance. And that's like if it was to check, like when I post certain things and the people who reshare it, a lot of my bros who's resharing it, they all looking at me as hope. Because
You are the
I
example.
was one of those ones who was stuck in their ways. You couldn't tell me nothing. So the fact that they see me transition, they realize that it's possible, is change is actually possible. You know what I'm saying? And coming from the Bronx, New York, we don't see a lot of success stories. You got to be a drill rapper. You gotta diss people who died in order to get some type of recognition on that level, especially from live. You gotta be somebody of like of a product of your environment to get that type of recognition from a person that high. And usually it's all through music.
Or
Never through I
there's,
want to better you. I
there's
want to
another way.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's never through the intellectual way. It's through music. That's how you from these places and you get these recognitions. So now I don't rap. I don't got none of that. But I got that recognition from somebody up here because she's seen something in me I didn't see. You know what I'm saying?
It's even bigger than that. God.
Jesus, Lord Heavenly Father. I always put him first.
You was able to do one thing. Remember, there's a verse that says, "Let your light so shine among men that they may see your good works and glorify God." Right now, you are shining, but you are glorifying God with it.
Yeah.
And because you are doing so, what God is doing is allowing them to see more of you, allowing the world to see it. Because, like you said, people need to be able to see an example.
Right.
And then it gives them hope that they can become.
Have to. I never seen that. I never seen like because I never wanted to better myself before I went to jail. So everything that I was looking up to was all just to be the worst version of myself, but the best worst version. You know what I'm saying? So I never seen the success story like myself. So when people be like, first of all, when I come into a room, I love to be authentic. I never want to feel like I never want to make a person feel like they can't conversate with me regardless of whatever they're going through their current life, because I was there. I literally come from nothing. You know what I'm saying? Come from nothing. Came home from foster care. We was in and out of shelters until I turned 17. Like it was constant. The crib, the apartment that my mother got now, I got my own house now, my own crib, God willingly. You know what I'm saying? But the apartment that my mother got right now is the longest apartment that I ever lived in my life. Never stayed in anywhere. We've been here 5 years. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I never seen no success coming from the gritty parts of the Bronx as far as on a level like that. You know, I done did interviews with CNN. I done traveled, went to the BT Awards. I done been in all these wonderful rooms. I done held nationwide events. I done got recognition. I done been in the People's Magazine. I done did it all. It's been 2 years, God. It's only been 2 years. And I'm super humble. I'm super humble because to me, it doesn't feel like I accomplished anything yet. I don't feel like I did nothing.
Well, I'd put it this way, and I started doing this. I started doing it a while ago. Imagine you were you. No, somebody else was you.
Mm.
And you know everything that you know about you, but it's in somebody else. How would you see that person?
Everything that
Everything that you have accomplished, everything that you have changed, you know every part of you, but it's not you, it's somebody else.
I would try my best to extend my hand to allow them to help, to allow them to let me help them.
But no, I'm talking about you would know that you are somebody else, but you see everything that this person has accomplished. How would you see that person?
I would see myself.
Now start seeing yourself. Start realizing that everything that you have accomplished is crazy. It's big. Everything that God has allowed you to be, you're a butterfly. You just got a caterpillar story, man. And you have transitioned to the butterfly. Now see the butterfly. They say a butterfly got 12,000 eyes. Guess what it can't see? Itself.
Wow.
But this is the thing. You are the butterfly. You have to know that everything that God has allowed you to become, everything that God has allowed. Listen to the stuff that you just told me. You've been BET, People's Magazine. You've done all these wonderful things because you were chosen. Not that those people that you know that's in prison and on Rikers, still on the streets doing bullcrap. You could have been one of those, but you are the one that they need to be able to see.
That's a fact.
And I commend you on your change, man, because it's hard to change.
It's the hardest thing to do,
It's too,
especially if it's for the better. And internally, you could change your appearance all you want. You can wear a wig, you can wear a sweatsuit, you can wear a suit.
but the mentality,
Internally, your mentality, your heart desires, that's a different ball game, and that takes time. That takes time. It took me years. It took me a year and some change to finally get to where I'm at now.
but God brought you to people.
Exactly. That's why. You know what I say? I tell those people all the time. You know who my closest friend is? You want to know how old he is?
So
My closest friend is my coworker, Jerry Vega. He's not here today. Jerry Vega is 70 years old. He just turned 70. I went to his party last week. Brother did 34 years.
I need, if you will, I need that interview too.
I got you. I can make that introduction as soon as we get off this call. You know what I'm saying?
There's a reason.
He worked with me. He's not here today, but that's my best friend. My best friend. You know what I'm saying? I'm like his son. You know, he sees something. He's like the dad I never had. I'm like the son he never had. This is my coworker though, but we go to lunch together every day. We talk every day. He taught me so much on how to change internally in a work environment. And you need to have mentors.
I promise you.
And you gotta be able, like you said, I call it the elevator shaft. When the elevator starts to go up, people got to get off. Everybody can't make it to that final stop. You can't. If you do, there's always a capacity somewhere in the elevator that says, if this pounds X, Y, and Z
It's too heavy.
it will drop. And that be the problem. People know they want to change. They know they want it, but the people around them are not changing themselves. Birds of a feather flock together. I didn't realize how true that was until I let a lot of people go.
They say, find 6 millionaires. Guess what you become?
A millionaire.
The 7th. Find 6 broke people. Guess what you would
say?
say?
You hang around 6 killers, you're gonna be labeled as a killer.
No,
that's how it goes.
This is the thing, and it's not their fault.
It's not.
It's yours. Yep. We have to learn how to transition. God has already gave you everything that you need.
Exactly.
But it's when you can get around, different people and say, you know what, I can be something. Or I'm gonna be something.
Right.
And now I'm gonna start searching for everything that I need. But God guide me. Look, one, I want to commend you, man, once again.
I appreciate
I want to commend all those people who done played a part. What was his name? Tim White?
Yeah, Tim Johnson.
Tim Johnson. I want to commend Lala, Jessica, your mentor, what's his name?
Jerry. You got White, you got DC, you got Octavia, you got Medard, you got Emily, you got Espanol. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I could go all day. And these are all people from different departments, from work to family to Department of Corrections. They all played a part in this journey.
I even thank you for going through the journey. Everybody don't make it out of these places.
That's a fact.
But the fact that you did, and the fact that you didn't just make it, you have conquered who you used to be. This is the most powerful part. God is not just using you or has used, but is still using you to change lives, man. And that is one of the reasons why I wanted the story, because I learned something. In prison, if we can take these stories back and allow people to see what they can become, they become. If they never get these stories, what happened, they don't know that it's possible that they can change.
I went back into Rikers 4 times already. Spoke at the same group I was a part of. I went 2 weeks ago. And for me, I could leave it with this. I went 2 weeks ago. When I went on Wednesday, 2 weeks ago, I went where, Tim Johnson, we went to, whenever they tell me to come, I go. I went through, and one of the kids in the initiative now, my neighborhood and his neighborhood got real beef, like gun violence beef, like is active, right? He didn't even recognize me. You know what I'm saying? Like he didn't even recognize me. I went in there and I spoke. I think when I took off my glasses and I think he registered who I was. But the first day when I was there, I spoke, I was chilling with them, we played ball, we did all the read the Bible. I was there that whole entire day. He told Tim Johnson, the pastor, the next day, like, yo, I knew who he was already though. And I already knew who he was. And I knew I'm a changed man, but I don't know where his heart was at. But I do know I started in this room, same thing how he did, right? And he told Tim Johnson he want to be like me. And he want to try to figure out a way to stop this beef. Mind you, all he would have had to do was sense some type of phoniness on me. That's all it would have took.
And it would have been over.
It would have been over. Everybody in that initiative now, they all in the same gang. And they all this kid is somebody. You know what I'm saying? He told Tim Johnson, like, if he could do it, I could do it. If he could do it, I could do it.
That is the antidote. There's a Bible verse that says, and they overcame by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. He just got to hear your testimony, see your change. And what's in his mind now is that he can change, that he can stop something that has been going around. But biggest part, you wouldn't have had Kobe without Jordan. Kobe ain't do nothing but copy everything that Jordan done and put his own spin to it.
Facts.
And what happened?
Facts.
We got to watch two of the greatest people alive play ball.
The best leaders are the best followers.
So before we go, I need you to do something for me. I need you to give me a word of wisdom for anybody, whether they locked up, not locked up. They could just be out here lost trying to figure this thing out. Give me a word of wisdom for them.
Absolutely. The word I'm gonna use is consistency. And the reason why I'm gonna say that is because, to be honest, the only thing in this world that actually stays the same is change. Nothing ever stays the same. It's always some type of constant change. Now, if you want to change yourself within your, like, internally, like you want to change something about you, you got to remember that there's going to be days where it may seem like there's no light at the end of this road, but you got to stay consistent. There were days where I wanted to give up. There were days where I cried. There was days where I was so angry because I don't know how to act this way in this environment. This is not what I know. But I stayed consistent.
And look at you now.
And I was able to come through with some change. So stay consistent. And remember that nothing in this world is ever going to stay the same. We have iPhones now. 20 years from now, it might be something else. That might be the new leading electronic in the world. 50 years ago, we didn't have iPhones. You couldn't pick up and text somebody.
Nah.
That changed within a short amount of time. Thousands of years back, we had dinosaurs the size of buildings. That changed. So just remember that time is one thing you can never get back. You can never get back time. You can spend $1 million and make $1 million. You can spend $5 and make $5. You spend 5 minutes, you can never get that 5 minutes back. So just stay consistent on whatever you want to do, whatever you want to achieve. Remember that one of the greatest leaders are the greatest followers, because somebody did this before you. Always remember that.
Look, Rondo.
Love, Carlos. Brother.
We're gonna stay connected because stay on, and I'm gonna share a little something with you after we get off here.
Okay.
Look, once again, this is Forward Progress. My name is Carlos Walker, and this is Rondo Reform.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you, sir.
Appreciate you, Carlos. I stay in touch, my brother.
Blessings.